Hello everyone, we're back for another round here of the PWW Prestige Worldwide Racing. This is the Catalina Wine Mixer event and we are here for round number 4 at the Chinese Grand Prix at the Shanghai circuit. It is me, Jota, for this event alongside 16 enthusiastic drivers looking to contribute more of their hard-earned prize money out of the pockets of PWW as they continue on earning their dollar all the way through in a very, very intense Grand Prix last week at Canada. And hopefully we'll see more of the same here at the Shanghai International Circuit in China. We do have a very, very intense session ahead of us, of course. This is Q1. 16 of us are all out there at the moment looking to get themselves a lap set on the board at the moment. There are 16 runners, which means one person will actually be knocked out of this event. And some people, unfortunately, one of those being Duffy's, probably didn't see that one because at the moment he is currently out on intermediate tyres in the bone dry. So fingers crossed he'll be able to sort of spot that one and get back in ASAP. Back on board though with the Red Bull Honda. Mods SC Boy was in for a good Canadian Grand Prix with a few missteps along the way. As well actually retired from the session, I believe, which is a really unfortunate scenario for him, so he's looking to bounce back from the perils of the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. All 7 you tuned in at the moment. Good evening to all of you. No doubt some of you are the drivers here as well. Good luck to every single one of you here for this event. Plenty of prize money to be earned in this race, as well of course the full event. Also at the moment it is a very intense session as regards to prize money at the moment. Bailey taking a solid $20 from round 3. Crispy taking 15. Luciano's taking 10. Well, it's a very, very tasty scenario, but we did get some people on the naughty step as well. Shazam ended up taking a penalty point in the last race on his super license. And of course the Chinese Grand Prix, very intense circuit, very high degradation on the tyres, so I'm expecting not that many people to be using the soft tyres in Q2. You see a collection of mediums and hards, but it will be soft tyres for the majority of the runners. Hopefully Duffy's going to get into a set of soft tyres imminently, as we have Iron Fox already leaving his session, so obviously some disconnection issues for him. Let's see where looking to get himself on the mark. Keep it nice and steady as he heads through the final corner here with the Red Bull Honda looking to get off the mark. 1 minute 31.848 that people are going to be scouting out for. I suspect not a lot of drivers are really going to be pushing that hard. Here's the Alpine Crispy. Looking to continue on the form that is on at the moment after that intense Canadian Grand Prix. We are on board with him at the moment with an invalid lap actually, so the best starts qualifying for the man of the moment, winning the most amount of prize money. There's people all on laps at the moment. Little Joker and Thor all setting laps at the moment. They're in the mid-33s at the moment actually, 2 seconds slower than Mods at the moment. Purple sector for Veyron in the Ferrari. If you're not familiar with PWW with regards to the assists, all of these drivers are going to have to cope with no assists, pardon, a corners only racing line. So number 89 Ferrari having to contend with no racing line down that straight up until this very, very hard braking zone. Can pull only 4.5, 5G in real life F1. So they'll track extend at the final corner, and he will invalidate it, and then they will come across line. It would have been a 32.5, so would have got himself to second on that one, but still a long way away from Mods at the moment. initial indications suggesting that we're going to be for some pretty intense racing. Here's Duffy's. The Mercedes looking to get himself going here. He's the lone soldier in the Mercedes as well. Shazam missing for this race. A few drivers actually not appearing for this particular event. Won't be any surprise, that's probably due to the circuit. Very intense circuit as the FO wheel and pad users. There is it's across the platform really that this circuit not a lot of people enjoy racing on, but it does end up bringing some good racing usually, so we'll see how it does. The 16-man lobby in this one, 16-man, I should say 16-person, of course, Marie not being of the male variety of humans. Number 76 then. Trying to get himself off the mark at the moment is Duffy's. And to be fair, he's got the pace as Duffy's. He'll be looking to get himself something on the mark here as El Dudorino just tucking himself in a little bit under a tenth of a second behind SC Boy here, so clearly feeling a little bit more confident around the Chinese Grand Prix. Following the Mercedes here, as we do have a Haas just tucking in behind. I think that might be Perondi. Into the final corner then does the Mercedes. A little bit of a wiggle, so really not the best at the moment around that particular corner. Not the best on circuit either at the moment. 32.4 for him. He's the Haas driver of Reece Skiller, actually, is the person who comes across the line to start his lap now. We do have the Williams of Iron Fox just starting his lap, I believe. No, pardon me, that was actually Crispy who's just finished his lap and took himself 0.02 of a second faster than Mods SC Boy. Good lap there actually from the Williams. Again, looking to keep on that good form that he had from the Canadian Grand Prix last week, and again put himself in solid contention for a race victory, but very, very close margins though. 0.02 of a second separating Crispy from Mods. The FRA driver will be happy, I believe, with that one. Another driver we need to keep an eye on, though, and do need to keep an eye out on 10th place Perondi at the moment as well. On a run of a bit of a bad look of form at the moment, actually, as the Haas runner. The Brazilian will be looking to sort of bounce back, I think, from a couple of not particularly clean races. There was spins galore at the Austrian Grand Prix a couple of weeks ago, and then wasn't the cleanest of races either last week in Canada. At the moment he's getting a bucket load of dirty air though from the Alpine of Iron Fox, which is certainly not going to help his case, and you have to argue here, Iron Fox is actually on a lap at the moment, so Perondi might just be a little bit unfortunate here because he's going to get stuck behind a back marker, and he has actually bailed from that lap. Unfortunate nature of the circuit though, he got caught in traffic. But he had every right to finish his lap, Iron Fox. He was and is on a lap at the moment, I believe. Just tucks it round the corner. You can see he is pushing relatively hard to set a lap, I believe. We'll see if he comes straight in. He might be in trouble. No, he is going to have a go at this one, but he is well behind on the lap time at the moment. It's 35. 3.81, but he is 4 seconds lap faster than Sil Weaver, and Reece Skiller clearly having an off, 1 minute 51, so he's not set a representative lap time at the moment. So Perondi getting a little bit caught out there a bit. You think he'll try and bounce back here. Again, not just with the lap, but with the poor run of form at the moment. You can argue he's actually the quickest driver on the field at the moment, but form-wise, he's completely off it. Early to talk about what we've got coming up, but we do have the Silverstone Grand Prix coming up next week. 5 PM Eastern, 4 Central as usual. Live at Le Grand Bretagne, my home country. An off Red Bull there, actually. Following up at Silverstone, we are actually at Baku as well in 2 weeks' time, before we all go on to a week break for our mid-season some rest before we end up going to Monza. A circuit to come back to. Looking forward to being with you for all of those. Yeah, a little bit of a tow is here, Peronde. Again, not a representative lap time for him at the moment, 1 minute 50, obviously getting caught up by Iron Fox, who was on the lap at the time, so Iron Fox won't get into trouble for that one. Though he is quite far behind at the moment, nearly 4 seconds slower than the pole sitter Crispy at the moment, who is actually going back on another outlap here, as SC Boy is actually just going to sit this one out, I think. Bailey comes across the line, he's now fastest. Here comes Peronde, he's now fastest, and he's actually 1:31.1 here, so he's just flown himself right into the mix here, and trying to bounce back from that bad run of form. That's one way to do it. Bailey also taking some good money last week. Taking the most amount of money, actually, $20 from the last race in Canada. So he'll be looking to keep that form going, as will Crispy. And so will Luciano at the moment, but he is struggling to get out of the 32s at the moment. But only just in the 32s, actually. Only 32, 002. Follow Luciano now, actually, the Ferrari looking to earn some more money in this event. Fantasy Boy retiring from the session then, down in P4, should be relatively safe. I think El Duderino is going to be happy with his performance in this Q1 session as well, actually. 1 minute 31.9. And 7,000, second faster than Clips in the, I believe that is the Alpine. Only one person to set a representative lap time, Marie. And she's down in P16 at the moment with 1 minute 54. If she is actually out of the 107% rule, so she wouldn't even qualify in P16. She'd just be put right at the back of the grid. Almost in a P0 situation at the moment, so she'll need to get something going here. Peronde back into the pits though, as he'll be, I think retiring from the session will be that one. He'll be very happy that he's just on the breach of the 30s, and he does exactly that. And plenty of drivers just on slow laps, I think, as they just look to settle their way out of Q1 and start considering what they're going to be doing tyre strategy wise. Iron Fox is certainly going to be looking over his shoulder though. That 1 minute 35 is something he's not going to be happy with at the moment, but Marie really struggling through the long right-hander. Really not the best setup at the moment on that Williams. It's looking a little bit sheepish. There she goes now, number 81, looking to plenty of sort of downforce on the rear. It just looks to me as if she's not really counter-steering it very well. She track extends, but she gets away with it. Comes across the line now, and she is through. Albeit she did track extend at that final corner, and wondering if the guys at PWW are just going to be monitoring that situation and making sure people don't take too much of an advantage when track extending. Either way, Iron Fox now is going to be knocked out. Actually, Marie knocking out her teammate at this rate here, but he is going to give it a go here. Not the best start either. Right wiggle on the curb. Reskiller's going to have to watch himself here at the moment, because he might be in a bit of a Haas sandwich, and he's going to be the bottom bun in that. If Iron Fox does improve, not bad turn one, but it's going to on the power a bit too hard. Going midway through the corner, he's missed the apex by a little bit of a margin there. As Crispy retires in P3. There's Iron Fox in the matching number crew. Himself racing 21, himself doing exactly the same thing. The Alpine Renault powered car in the back, heading around the long left-hander in that second sector. Keep it close to the apex if you can, otherwise you're going to have a tight entry into this corner, and that's exactly what's happened. He's going to struggle, he's going to wash out wide, and he's going to spin it on the curbs, and that's what happens when you have that horrible interior entry. You just put yourself too far on the inside line and you try to correct it, but it's far too late. You're midway through the corner, you mount the curb and you spin. That that might leave him a bit vulnerable here, will the Alpine? He's got a little bit of time, I think, to get back round the circuit and have another go here. He's got just under 2.5 minutes. You need to keep it steady, especially around that second sector. Those apexes are crucial if you want to try and set some laps. And what's not going to help Iron Fox either is Reskiller's actually about 9/10 of a second faster at the moment. So he's going to have to find nearly a second in pace, but washing out really wide is Reskiller at the moment. The Haas is not looking comfortable on the front end here, and he's going to end up coming in quite hot, so he's going to have to lift off the power, make sure he doesn't hit the curb too much, and he's just got away with it. See how he does then going through the left and right hander. Not too bad. He wants to try and keep his foot planted if he can. He's been able to do that. Not the worst second sector. Here he starts the third though. Logic joining us now into this session as well. He's not going to be able to qualify though, so he'll be starting P17. Comes around that final corner. Let's see what Reskiller does. Comes across the line. It's now in the 33s. It's 33.4. 9 Fox is surely in a really bad predicament here. He's actually 2/10 down on his fastest lap here. At 35.3. And you can see he's just not able to put the power down at all through that corner. I'm wondering if there's a lower downforce setup to try and benefit from this straight that not able to get around the rest of the circuit. What benefit are you going to get with a lower downforce setup on that rear? We'll see how he does then anyway through the hairpin. Missed his apex ever so slightly, but it's not going to cause him too much of a problem. Logic does join us, but it's going to be far too late to set a lap. He's going to miss his apex there. Might track extend, just gets away with it. Iron Fox comes across the line. He does improve by 0.5 but he needs to get a bit of a shift on here if he wants to try and get through here to Q2. He's planting it on the curb, and he's not going to gain any time doing that because it's going to spit him out wide, which means he's going to have to go very slow through turn 2. He heads through 3, and he's still not looking comfortable here. I'm wondering if he's just going to bail here. He's a second down, and I think that's probably going to be it here. And he has. He's spun it through turn 7, turn 8. And that is his qualifying over. And he starts P16 in front of Logic. One other driver looking to try and improve though. There is Luciano here. And Ferrari looking to try and improve. And he's 32.0. He would be wanting to get into at least the 31s if he wants any possibility of getting into the top 5 at the end of this race. We'll see how the number 2 Ferrari does though. He comes straight into the pits, so he is taking no further part in Q1. But he will be taking part in Q2, and with his pace at the moment, he will be through to Q3 as well. Well, that's your first 18 minutes done. Ladies, gentlemen, and those who aren't sure. We are heading through to Q2, and we are going to be missing the Alpine of Iron Fox, who was tragically cut out of qualifying by his teammate Marie. She didn't set a representative lap time, and then she did, and she ploughed herself into P11, so she'll be looking to try and find a little bit more pace, another 10th or so, and she'll be able to get through to Q2. Let's have a little chat. Let's have a little listen with the drivers in the chat.
Unvalidated a fucking .4 in the last corner.
Apologies for the bad language. Luciano obviously frustrated there for the Ferrari in P7. He's 32.0. Clearly knows he's got a little bit more pace in the back of that Ferrari at the moment. But Perondi is the driver that leads the way in the moment, and the Brazilian looking to bounce back quite well. Bailey in P2 with Crispy in third. You've got SC Boy in fourth with the dude in fifth place. He'll be happy with that. He's sort of in the mix there a little bit. Clips in sixth. Luciano, as we saw, in seventh with No Limit, No EQL in eighth. Veyron in ninth. Duffy's is in the top 10, and Marie Tuck's back in 11th. We've got Sil Weaver in at 12th as well. He'll be looking to find a little bit of time. And Little Joker exactly 2 seconds back in P13. As we head through to Q2, it's coming up. We'll have a little listen further to our drivers.
Sounds good.
Is you doing it right now?
Yeah. Watching the Twitch right now. He was
Oh,
just,
man,
looking at Luciano there on his last in-lap, I think. I was watching him at least.
That's not good. Hopefully he realized
I
that
hear
was
you
on
do the thing.
36% tires.
Actually,
Something
make it through
bummed
the second
about
round.
is this Xbox controller. They changed the. I guess it's a good thing though. They changed the charging cable, USB, and they also changed the battery pack. So your normal battery packs that you got for your Xbox One won't work. New one. You're gonna have to get all new ones.
That's okay. I usually go all in when I buy a new system anyway. It's still working on that.
So, Q1 is over and done with. We are missing Iron Fox, as we saw earlier, struggling in that session. So hopefully he can sort of bounce back from what was a pretty poor qualifying from the Alpine after being knocked out by his teammate Marie. We head through to Q2 now, and this is where we will see the drivers decide what they're going to do as regards to strategy. Now, of course, if you're not familiar with Formula 1, Q2 is where we now see the drivers go out of their way to decide what tyre they may want to start on if they go through to Q3. And if they go through to Q3, the tyre that they qualify on in Q2 will be the tyre that they start on the grid. And of course, on a circuit like this one, it's going to be incredibly crucial that you make sure you get the right strategy here. The soft tyre is not a good race tyre. It's a fantastic speed tyre if you want to get round in qualifying, but as a race tyre, it is not the best. And obviously with that issue on board, I'm expecting there's going to be a few people that are going to be trying to get through on mediums, maybe even hard tyres. You may end up seeing people like Peronde, SC Boy, maybe even Crispy try a hand at maybe going onto the hard tyre, but a little bit out of the ordinary. I am actually starting to see some people go out on the soft tyre. Veyron is out, and Crispy is out on the soft tyre as well. It's a bit of a backward strategy going on the softs. It is the not the best strategy to be on. The undercut is very powerful around here, so the one stop is recommended. If you do go onto or start on the soft tyre, then the hard tyre is certainly the second tyre you need to be on, but you're going to be on so much earlier than those that start on the medium. There's such a big difference between the soft and the medium tyre. Following Veyron, though, number 89, not the worst Q1 for the Ferrari, but he'll be looking to try and keep up with the pace of his teammate, but he's on the curves there on his outlap. It's not going to help his certainly not going to help the under part of his car. Those trying to get themselves through and those actually listening in, I do appreciate your compliments about the commentary quality. It is highly appreciated, thank you. I do try my best. Here comes number 89 on the final corner now. He gets going as he's lost the car on that final. That's not one way to get started on your lap. And now he's going to have to wait while the Alpine I believe it was the Alpine anyway, of Crispy. It's the Williams of Crispy to get going. So Veyron is probably going to have to do another lap, I think. Let's follow Crispy instead, as he is weirdly on the soft tyre. Not the choice of race tyre. It's really not the choice of race tyre for any driver around China. But he's going onto it, so he thinks that he's going to be able to make the strategy work. Obviously the fastest Q1 of the Sector 1 of anyone at the moment, but he's the only person to set a representative. Sector 1 is of course going to be purple. Hits his apex beautifully though, actually, on these tyres. Very prone to overheating as well if the track temperatures are high, which as they are right now, these soft tyres can overheat in race specs, so they'll be monitoring that. So we have another spinning car. I believe Veyron has spun it again, actually, just coming out of turn number 3. If not Veyron, that might actually be Luciano on the soft tyres, weirdly enough. We'll keep an eye on that one. That's a big track extension from Crispy. He is not going to be setting anything there on the curbs, too much curbs, and the car was spat off of the circuit. And that's that's that lap over and done with. We'll see what the situation was. It was Luciano actually who spun the car, so both Ferraris actually spinning prior and just at the start of their laps. Lots of people going around the field here. The dude is going to be happy here. El Duderino, number 2, Alpha Tauri. Very positive Q1 for him. P5, P6. The Alpha Tauri will be looking to keep that form going. He thinks he's got the pace to go through on the medium tyre, as the conditions now looking to start getting a bit overcast here. So medium tyre is certainly going to be not as fast as the softs here. But there is a worry that with the Chinese Grand Prix, as always, there's always that chance of rain. Another driver part of the 21 crew, Lil Joker, looking to get himself going. He's on the soft tyre. He's going to get himself on the books here. 34.2 to beat, 32.6 he gets. So he's well within the range of getting through to Q3 with lap times represented. Thor comes across the line on the mediums with a 35.3, so he may have to drop onto the softs here, as Crispy has just track extended again. So he's now struggling on these soft tyres here as we follow Silk Weaver, who comes across the line now very slowly with a 35.5. So not sure what's quite going on and what his strategy is at the moment is the Red Bull. I can't say too much negative about him though, because I do line to him when it comes to all of the communication side of it, so I'll keep all my comments positive to you about your Silk. Yeah, Crispy struggling though in this Q2 session so far. A couple of invalid laps and he is diving into the pits here. He's going to have to keep an eye out here on the potential weather forecast here, because if that overcast conditions always just absolutely pile drive the pit lane speed limit, so he's clearly unhappy with his performance in this early part of Q2. But at the moment, 3 drivers, the only people to set lap times on the softs: Joker, Reskiller and Silk Weaver, and he's actually slowed down Silk Weaver, I believe, actually, to actually switch over to the medium tyres, so he's obviously thinking about full race spec strategy here. A lot of drivers looking to just try and get themselves around the circuit very gingerly. Here's Mods SC Boy and the Red Bull looking to set a representative lap time on these mediums. He'll be looking to also outskill Perondi here around here. It's a good wiggle, that one, for the Red Bull. He just gets himself going. Steady into 1. Try and cut out wide and then hit your apex as you head into 2. Absolutely nailed it as he heads through into 3 now. And again, not too bad actually, as he keeps it just steady on the throttle. Medium tyre, not the best qualifying tyre, certainly far better when it comes to the race spec. Brake about 70 metres before you get into turn 5, tuck it in. Massively cut the corner though. I think he was expecting a bucket load of understeer. I think he was expecting a load of understeer that never really came here, so he's going to have to trust the car a little bit more. He's definitely got the car underneath him now. Here's Crispy's teammate. As Clip's looking to try and set a representative lap time, he's just head through the long right-hander. The DRS open now down this straight. He'll head into the hairpin. About 100 metres at the braking point, tuck it in, missing the apex ever so slightly. Not going to cause too many issues, you think. Not many lap times set, considering we're just over halfway in this qualifying 2 stint here. 33.0 on the medium tyre for Clips, so people start to continue to struggle. We're going to see a few people not able to set some laps here. We may end up seeing some people drop out of qualifying because they haven't set a lap, so it is possible. We'll see how the Mods SC Boy now needs to bounce back from that invalidation. Trust the car a little bit more. Sun's starting to come out again, so that's going to help the medium tyre runners as Joker just getting out of the way. Well, that might have been Thor actually. An interesting tactic, putting the power down quite early, does the Red Bull. Number 2 Red Bull looking to, again as I said, trust his car a little bit more. We'll see how he does as he heads into 5. And just very carefully turning it through 5. There's obviously, he knows he's got a lot more grip than he actually thinks he does here, as the Joker leaves this session with the 32.6, thinks he's through. Perondi beats him by 5/10 on the mediums though. That's a very well executed corner. Absolutely nailed in. He's going to be celebrating that with a purple second sector as well. Not the purple first though, but he nailed the second sector. Oh, and he's short shifting to try and keep the power down. So obviously he's struggling with the rear going through that long right-hander. Choosing not to use Crispy's toe down the straight. Break at about 100 metres. Not one lock up in sight for the Red Bull Honda, so he'll be happy with this now. But the final corner is treacherous. If you hit the curb too much, it's going to cause you a spin out, but he nails it. DRS open and absolutely nails that one. Comes across the line. Only just beating Joker by 1/10 of a second, if that, by 300ths of a second. And 4/10 down on Perondi. And we're still waiting for a representative lap time from Bailey and Crispy at the moment. Crispy now switching over to the adequate race tyre, the medium. Yoda's going into 5, brake about 70 metres, he brakes about 50. Does Crispy, very late on the brakes, so he's clearly earning all this time later on the brakes. It was about 65 actually, more than 50, but either way, very late on the brakes. As his braking points clearly, because he's absolutely nailed the first and second sectors here. He's going to go purple surely, and he has exactly done that. But how is he going to do through this third sector? You see he's wiggling his steering wheel a bit. I think he'll have wanted to get on the power a lot sooner than he actually did. Perondi retires in the pits. He's happy with a 32.1, and I would be as well actually on with a medium. Representative lap time will be coming in now from a couple of the front runners here, and that may start to push people like Clips and Duffy's down a little bit. Marie might be pushed out here. We'll see what happens. Reskiller now out. Crispy goes to 3rd, tucking in behind SC Boy by 12 thousandths of a second. Fastest 3rd sector of anyone, but the 1st sector just missing out. It looks like Perondi's absolutely nailed the 1st sector at the moment. Luciano up to 5th. He completely obliterates turn 5. So Thor currently in the danger zone. Marie, Reskiller, Siltweaver in the drop zone. No limit, no EQO yet to set a representative lap time. Bailey looking to come across the line, try and get himself in the mix here. Very quick as he's put it into the wall, and that might be his qualifying over, and it certainly is. And the man who takes the most amount of money in the last race in Canada is out of qualifying, putting it in the curbs and putting it into the wall. You'll be disappointed with that one. Bailey starts P15. Considered a front runner. And now he's going to have to work his way all the way up to the front here. And I'm expecting someone like him is going to have to go onto the hard tyre to start this race, when Alfa Romeo do fix up the damage on that car. These drivers do take it semi-fun but semi-seriously, so no, Bailey's going to be a bit angry with himself for that one. Not sure whether he's going to be in the open chat. After this session, we will get to hear the drivers have their post-conversation. The onboard with no limit, no EQL at the moment, looking to really get going in this session here. He's leaving it very late in the Cognizant Aston Martin Racing car. Crispy retires from P3. Current best tyre scenario. There's a current tyre scenario at the moment. Duffy and Clips are heading out on the soft tyre, probably just as a little bit of a over-the-shoulder scenario, just to make sure that Marie, Reskiller, and Siltweaver don't catch up too much. Siltweaver has got a little bit more time than 35.5 on the mediums. I suspect he is a lot faster than that. He certainly is as well. He's actually gained 2 seconds entirely. Put himself into 9th. He's actually put El Duderino now in the drop zone. It's a very, very good Q1 from Duderino, actually. So while the dude is now down in 10th, he won't be happy with that, and I have a feeling he'll have wanted to have headed out on a set of soft tyres himself, and he's actually taken the risk in the hope and he's going to get through on just the mediums, but it's very wide from the Aston Martin, and he gets away with it, does the number 27. And a hop and a skip and a jump. It's up to 3 yellow flags waved at the moment, and that is for a very slow Mercedes and Red Bull, Williams, I believe. It's actually Duffy's and Clips. It's an Alpine. Oh, it is a Williams, actually, for that matter. I can't see the colours. Can anyone see the colours? The colours are just all exactly the same. I'm not going to complain anyway. Everyone just picks blue, don't they, for their cars in 2021. Come across that final lap. And it will be P10 for No Limit No AQL, so he has actually pushed El Duderino out of qualifying. He took the gamble, didn't think he needed to come out, and he is starting in 11th. For Marie and Reskiller are looking to improve, but Marie can't. She's disqualified herself from this one. Reskiller is well down the field at the moment with a 34.2, and he's looking to improve if he can. So I have a feeling he's a little bit behind here. 10 seconds to get across the line, and he's only just at the hairpin. And he's going to go out wide as well. He's feeling that pressure. I think he knows he's out. Is he going to get himself out here? He's not. He's bailed. He knows he's out of qualifying. He starts P14, but he's in front of Bailey, crashing out at the very corner that he's just decided not to take. That leaves us now with our top 10, and No Limit No AQL has managed to get himself and just snagged himself a position into Q3 on slightly aged medium tyres, it has to be said. Siltweaver's done exactly the same, as well as Mods SC boys, both Red Bulls struggling a little bit with that medium tyre initially, so they've put a little bit of extra wear on there. Might not be too much of an issue. We'll have to see. Little Joker B's got through on the soft tyre though. Clips and Duffy's have not improved their lap times, I believe, so they will be starting on that medium tyre. Actually, Duffy's also 2 laps of tyre age in there as well, as we just wait for No Limit No EQL to retire. I'm sure Will as soon as he gets back into the pit lane. A very intense qualifying session continues. Peronde is still in front, 4 tenths of a second separating him from the rest of the field. Let's have a little listen to the rest of the drivers.
Little Joker up there in the sauce. Let's go.
Hey, at least one of the AlphaTauris is there. Yes.
Alabama's winning 35 minutes. Over the 12th ranked Ole Miss.
We get to start in the best spot.
Cincinnati. Beat Notre Dame.
Nonetheless, a very, very intense Q2. We follow through now to Q3. Selection of drivers deciding to go for that soft tyre will compromise their race, so they're going to have to qualify as high as they can. As we now head through, now we have our top 10. Answer on a postcard, please, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know who you think your favourite is for pole position. There's a few drivers leaving straight away. I believe that was Mods SC boy leaving out straight away. Of course, it will be soft tyres for everyone here who will now try and set the fastest lap possible. This is a pole position shootout. You reckon Peronde probably for the favourite for this one. He's been consistently 3 to 4 tenths a lap faster in qualifying, but that doesn't mean he'll carry that pace into the race. It's a very, very different ball game, especially at a circuit like this one. Follow Montez Boy again in the Red Bull as he tries to get himself going. Not much tyre warm-up will be needed with these soft tyres, that's for sure. Medium tyres on for Lil Joker though. AlphaTauri out qualifying his teammate, El Duderino, who was asking the question of whether his teammate had actually made it. And he had done so. He's currently going to be heading out on a set of medium tyres. I suspect just to get a little bit of digging into understanding how the medium tyres will work. So potentially looks like he's going to be doing a two-stop here. Two-stop definitely not the strategy you want to be on though. The undercut is a very, very powerful tool. At the Chinese Grand Prix circuit, so he'll be, I think, keeping an eye out on that one, that's for sure. 10 minutes to go in this 12-minute session of qualifying before we get going, of course, for the race in this Catalina Wine Mixer event. This is PWW, this is Prestige Worldwide Racing. And good evening, of course, to anyone that's tuning in across the world. Following the Red Bull Honda. Doing very well wherever you are tuning in across the world. Currently just approaching 10 to 11 at night here in the United Kingdom. It is nearly 10 to 6 on the East Coast. 10 to 5 Central. Oh, there's a big wiggle there from the Red Bull. He's really pushing here. See how he does now as he heads through the corner here, and he's got it nailed. I think a little bit of a wiggle on the entry. He just tries to shake off what was a little bit of a shaky exit. Turn 10. Zoda's now heading into the hairpin. The Red Bull package being absolutely sublime in real life Formula 1, arguably the best car on the grid in 2021. The Max Verstappen having a very intense fight with Lewis Hamilton. All the way to the very end. Montez Boy, 31.4. There's your initial target, folks. Let's see how everyone else can do here. I believe it will be Crispy comes across the line next. He's actually a tenth down, 9 tenths, actually directly 900ths of a second behind Crispy at the moment. Duffy's comes across the line and he's about a tenth and a half down here. Giving a firm eye on the Aston Martin of No Limit No AQL. Will come across the line now. There comes Peronde. It's the 30s. 30.8 for the Haas runner. Luciano, 31.5. I said he was consistently 4 tenths of a second faster than the rest of the field. Maybe that's 6 tenths of a second. He's absolutely flying high as a Brazilian. It was a little bit of bad run of form coming into this race, and he's going to be bouncing back with speeds that he's producing right now. Lil Joker comes across the line on the medium tyre, 33.6 for him, but 1 step harder compound for him, so he'll be coming in for another set of soft tyres. Maybe didn't have enough soft tyres left after what I believe actually to be a pretty scary Q1 actually for the AlphaTauri. Clips hasn't set a lap time, he invalidated on his last run, so he's giving it another go. He wants to set some kind of lap at the moment, though the Ferrari of Veyron is leaving it out very late. It looks like he's going to be falling out of sync with the rest of the field here, so he's going to hope for a couple of clean runs maybe. Oh, he's absolutely nailed turn 5 as Clips. He'll be happy with that. Seria does at turn 6 then. See a few people spin here. That was Williams though, absolutely planted. See how it does through 7. Keeps it steady through 8. Good wide entry, so he'll be happy to get on the power early through 9. And then keep it close to the apex at 10 here, because this is going to be fairly crucial. He's nailed his apex, and he's going to have to hit it here, and he does so exactly what he needs to do. Puts his power down early. This is actually not a bad little lap here from Clips. He's looking just to set a bit more of a banker lap here, and it's actually been a fairly clean lap for the Williams. DRS open. And the Williams driver looking, you'd suspect, to try and get around No Limit No EQL's time. Get on that third row if you can. And he can mix stuff up, can the number 97. He'll come across the line then on the next corner, comes across. And very well taken, and that is a solid lap actually from Clips. P7, 31.9. It was a little bit of a tentative third sector. So not a bad little banker lap there for the Williams, and Clips will be looking to try and improve from that now though, as everyone else just gets themselves ready for the next couple of laps. Meanwhile, this man here, Veyron, is actually out of sync with the rest of the field, so he'll be looking to just set a couple of banker laps here, or maybe go for a banker lap and then go for a fast lap immediately. Let's see how the Ferrari does. Goes through 1, misses his apex ever so slightly, but he should be able to catch it if he hits his apex at 2, which he does exactly right. Heading into 3. Again, keep it close and try and go as wide as you possibly can, and he chooses not to. He chooses to stay close to the inside line. No Limit No AQL disconnecting from the session, so hopefully we can get him back in. Very late braking for the Ferrari, so that unfortunately misses his apex at 5. So a Ferrari spin here earlier at 6. We'll see how he does now. Through 6, very well taken. Heading through 7. Keep it close to that curb, because you don't want to have a narrow entry into 8, because if you do, you're going to mount that curb and spin it. Mounts it very so slightly, goes through 9. I think he's probably got off the power there. Very quick on the downshifts. He heads through 10 and 11. Hold on tight for your dream, says Jeff Lynn. Hold on tight through that corner as well. It's going to be a bit of a racy corner, that one, I have a feeling. A lot of people struggling through then, a lot of people going quite quick, so a little bit of a mixed bag as well, especially with Bailey starting in P15 after him crashing out in Q2 in shocking circumstances, missing his apex, clipping the curb, and the car just gave way. You might as well just let go of the steering wheel, as that's exactly what's happened with Veyron. Exact same corner as Bailey. He has no front wing, and he's missed the pit lane entry as well after cutting the curb. As we see El Duderino making his comments known about that one. Really unfortunate stuff for Veyron. That's his qualifying over. He is not going to get another lap time in, and the Ferrari is going to be starting in 10th. So Luciano's certainly going to be able to get going out-qualify his teammate rather. No Limit No EQL rejoins just in time, so he might get another go here as we start to see all of the people who are in sync with the rest of the field just get themselves ready now. We have Calzona in the chats. Good evening to yourself, sir. Making the comment of Logic is a twit. Whatever he's done, I don't know, because he didn't actually make it into qualifying. So I'd love to know what he actually did. But not my words, Logic. Coming directly from Calzona, says that I have to tell you because you need to know. A need-to-know basis on that one. I'll let you decide on that one. It's crispy, though. As the Williams looking to, again, continue his good run of form. He's certainly got advantage here over what was a very, very prospective potential battle with Bailey. But, of course, his crash was taking a lot of curb and couldn't put the power down there. So he's not going to get a good run into 1 here, will the Alpine, so he may struggle a bit. Just keeps it very tight to the curb. It's a lot of curb he's taken there, so keeps it steady on the throttle actually, keeps it close to the inside line. You could go out a little bit wide and take an alternative line. See how he does into 5, late braking. Is he going to hit his apex? No, he misses it there as well. This has not been the cleanest of laps here from Crispy. He might have another chance of having another lap, another go at this lap though, because he did have enough time because he came out early enough to potentially have another go at this one. See if he chooses to abandon it. And he is actually 7/10 down, so I think he has actually abandoned it, and he's certainly going to need to improve because Duffy's has just come across line in the Mercedes, and he's in front of him, so they now share the second row. But Crispy down in P4 here. El Duderino making his voice known about that one. It is a good lap from Duffy's and the Mercedes, the lone soldier of the Silver Arrows will be happy with that one. And falls 29 thousandths of a second behind SC Boy, but just a little bit over half a tenth above Crispy. He needs to get himself going here. Perondi also on an outlap, just tucking in behind at the moment. So Weaver maybe in a little bit of a battle with Luciano here, maybe for the toe going into turn 1. We're back on board with Crispy. He's one and only Shout here, having a good lap here. Here he goes, into 1. Very wide through 1, and he might miss his apex at 2 unless he can clip it. He's absolutely nailed the apex considering the wide angle. Little lock-up going through 2. Put the power down early if you can, and that's exactly what he's done. He'll be happy, I think, with this first sector. We'll see how he does, though, on the sector lap times. And he is at half a tenth up here. But he has hit his apex at 5, so he has certainly made an improvement here. You have got Perondi on the lap just behind here, and that's a spin for Crispy. And the Williams, it should be driving for the Williams, but currently in the Alpine. Will not be happy with the scenario there. He's not improving. Perondi's looking to try and get himself a bit of an improvement here on his 30.8 and try and further his cushion against SC Boy, and he's already 3/10 up in that second sector. He's absolutely nailing every single corner that is thrown at him. A little bit wide through the entry, but he's going to have a better exit as a result, and not even that much input on the steering, just a nice smooth right-hand corner for Perondi, who's looking to further his continuation in this pole position battle. He's going to put a further cushion, surely, against SC Boy here. SC Boy just behind, I believe, at the moment, as we do have a slow car of Silk Weaver, his teammate spinning at the final at the corner, the right-hander. And on the power so early, Perondi comes across the line, and look at that, he's improved by over 2/10. It's a 30.6 for the Brazilian driver, and I think he knows that this pole position is going to be all his. SC Boy is not improving. Duffy's is on the second row in 3rd place. What a lap for the Mercedes, as No Limit No EQL can't improve either, and he finishes in P6 on the 3rd row of the grid. He'll be happy with this one. And then Clips is looking to try and improve here. Here comes the Williams as he comes across the line, and he does beat Silk Weaver to 7th on the 4th row. Very, very interesting grid ahead of us here. Got a few drivers on soft tyres as well. One of those being Little Joker in 9th place, so he may have a good start in the rest of the field. We've got a very quick driver in Bailey starting in P15, but Perondi is the man of the moment, and that Brazilian driver in the Haas is going to be very, very happy with his scenario. He starts on pole, and he starts on pole by just a little bit under 0.8 of a second. What a lap from the Haas. We'll just wait on the drivers to retire from this session. We'll be able to get going with the weight count and the wait time before we get going with this race. As I rightfully say, it is Perondi on pole position, and he'll be happy with that one. It's SC Boy in 2nd with Duffy's in 3rd. A very good lap for the Mercedes, and the lone Silver Arrow, lone soldier, will be happy with that one. Crispy starts in 4th, and not the best for the Williams in the Alpine. I'm not sure if they've made a driver swap there, but he was meant to be in the Williams. Either way, he is starting in 4th. Silk Weaver down in 8th, and in between, Luciano No Limit New EQL will be happy with 6 as he's beaten Silk Weaver to the 3rd row of the grid, and then Clips just coming in on the 4th row as well. And Little Joker starting on the soft tyre, remember, in 9th with Veyron in 10th, and Little Joker not setting a representative lap time either, because he was on the medium all the way through. And we'll be heading through to the race very shortly. What is going to be a very, very intense Chinese Grand Prix. Looking forward to this one. And it's going to be not just an intense Grand Prix, but a very interesting one as well, with that grid all mixed up. We'll be back shortly. Hello everyone, welcome back. This is round number 4 of the Chinese Grand Prix. It is PWW Prestige World Rad Racing here for the Catalina Wine Mixer event. It's myself, Jota, here for this intense Grand Prix. An intense qualifying session saw Peronde take pole position. He starts on that medium tyre alongside SC Boy on the front row, but there was a well over 8 tenths of a second, over 3/4 of a second separating Peronde from SC Boy. It's going to be all about that race start, I think, and SC Boy knows if he can get up front at least into turn 1, Peronde is going to be caught behind, and Duffys will be very happy to swallow up any instance that happened from a very, very good qualifying. Out of sync with the rest of the field, but setting that P3 means that he starts in that position with Crispy on the second row. Luciano is in 5th with No Limit, No EQL in 6th. Clip starts in 7th. Silkweaver in 8th. Little Joker in 9th. On the soft tyre as well, with the Hungarian of Veyron starting in 10th. The rest of the field starting on the hard tyre except Logic in 17th. Iron Fox starting in 16th with Bailey shockingly knocked out of Q2 after that spin at the final corner, crashing it into the wall. He starts in that position. Marie starting down the order as well. She's in 13th with the Dude starting in 11th, and you think he was a bit unfairly knocked out of Q2 because he had a very, very good Q1 that suggested he actually had the pace. And as you see on strategy, it is the one-stop strategy if you do start on the medium tyre. So I suspect that if you are doing a 2-stop, and that's one driver in P9, Little Joker, maybe on a 2-stop strategy here tonight for this Chinese Grand Prix. And overcast conditions here as well for the drivers, so they'll have to contend with maybe some tyre maintenance issues. Maybe these drivers will have to struggle. You can see, yeah, there's a 2-stop strategy suggested for him and a couple of medium tyre stints, but the soft tyres will wear out so quickly for Little Joker. But with the cooler conditions for this race, of course, with the overcast conditions, the soft tyres may last just a little longer, maybe an extra couple of laps. That could see him go onto a hard tyre to the end of this race. Commit to the one-stop, but he's going to have to go a very, very long way, maybe 22 to 24 laps on a set of hard tyres, and you suspect that that is going to be a very tough race for the AlphaTauri Honda. So once again, there's your tyre situation then, folks. One person starting on the softs, everyone else starting on mediums or hards. Logic was late to the race, so he couldn't qualify, and he starts in P17. And the McLaren actually sitting in the right car as well. The game actually gave him the correct car, so works out well for him. He sits in a familiar car, but he will be sitting in a car that will feel a bit unfamiliar for the circuit, because obviously he didn't get a chance to go out there. So he's going in a little bit blind, is Logic, but he will be starting on the medium tyre, which may give him a bit of an advantage for the 6 cars in front of him, who are all starting on the hard tyre, which you suspect, especially in these conditions, tyre warmth is going to be a real issue for those on the hards. Track temperature does drop a little bit, and actually Little Joker just getting a little bit of a drift on. We've actually got a spinning car in the back, and Reece Gill has actually spun it on the formation lap. So clearly the hard tyres are not in the best condition at the moment, and they're going to have grass on them as well. So keep a firm eye on Reece Gill here, because he may start to struggle here. And of course those at the front are going to have to cope with tyre temperatures dropping, because of course they're on the grid a little bit longer. But either way, Reece Gill has got himself going, and he's lining up on the grid. Drivers lined up and counting down the lights. It's 1, it's 2, it's 3, it's 4, and it's 5 lights. It's 5 lights, and they are a go. The drivers, here they are, and the lights out very quickly. And I have a feeling Crispy's actually caught them a little bit napping here in front of him. Is he going to get a little bit of a toe off SC Boy? But he comes in straight into the corner, does Peronde, who leads the way. And then it is going to be SC Boy. Crispy does get in front of Duffys, and he's down the inside line as well. You think he's going to have the advantage, but he will have the advantage. Will round turn 2, will Duffys, and that's exactly what he's going to take. Going through turn 3, and he's managed to get back in front of Crispy. No Limit, No EQL EQL getting one on Luciano, and Siltweaver up in one in 7th, but he's currently battling at the moment. Bailey's up 2, and Logic up 3. The hard tyre runners clearly not having the best of run here. A little Joker on the soft tyre, still battling with Siltweaver at the moment for P8 at the moment, as we have a spinning car, and Iron Fox struggling on the first lap, and he now falls just above 8.5 seconds on the rest of the field at the moment, more specifically on Thor, as Marie and Bailey also getting into mixes at the moment as well, as Logic up 5 positions already against the rest of the field on hard tyres. Remember, he is on the mediums. Peronde getting a very good start here as we go back on board with him and look behind. You can see he's already starting to pull that gap, and SC Boy really needed to get a good start if he wanted to try and put some early pressure on Peronde, but Peronde is so quick around here, and you have a feeling here he may be an early contender for this race victory already with 27 laps to go, and we're just getting really started. And we're already discussing potential race victories here, but SC Boy and Duffy's into the mix here as well. Not a bad start for Duffy's, managing to bounce back and defend quite well from FRA Crispy in the Alpine, who should be in the Williams, unless there has been a driver swap that I'm unfamiliar with. Renault-powered Alpine will be the one-stop strategy he's going to be looking at here with that medium tyre, looking to try and keep as close as he possibly can. DRS train, they're going to start to form soon, and Perondi's already leaving the DRS train, and he's still got another lap to go here before DRS is even active. So already good start here, as we're already seeing time penalties coming out here, as Marie's got a 5-second penalty. She's sped in the pit lane. Duffy's got a big wiggle going through into 4 rather. We'll see how he goes into 5. It's going to be very late on the brakes for Crispy. Locks up a little bit because I think Duffy's braking a little bit early after that little wiggle through 3. Seen a lot of people spinning here, so you suspect with the high fuel as well, we're going to see a few people committing at the same issue. 2 of 28, and everyone getting through a bit unscathed, and on the curb is Crispy, and that's actually put him under a little bit of pressure here from the Aston Martin Cognizant car behind him. No limit, no AQL. Be happy to pick up any scraps if Crispy makes any mistakes. Oh, he's been very well executed. He's lost the rear a little bit, and there he goes. We did see that would be an issue for Crispy, and he has lost it with all of that fuel in the back, and he's now going to be dropping positions. 9th, 10th, 11th, and now 12th for the man who managed to get second place in last week's race. He's now fully 10 positions down on where he managed to finish last time. He's not going to be happy with that one. On board with Luciano and the Ferrari, looking to try and keep on with the form that he's had. A relatively decent form at the moment is the Ferrari, as he heads through the final corner himself. Very well taken. Perondi fastest lap of this race, and already breaking DRS territory on Nomod's SC Boy. He's going to be under pressure from Duffy's, as he is going to be, I think, potentially livid that the lights went out so quickly, because he could have really done with a good start to try and crack in front of Peronde, as he continues on, tucking in a little bit behind here. Peronde braking late and actually locking up, but actually hitting his apex, unlike Peronde, who struggled through turn 5 then, as Duffy's has actually left the DRS territory of Mod's SC Boy here. So maybe starting to see a little bit of a one-man tribe at the moment at the front. Back in DRS territory after an excellent second sector so far from the Duffys. Actually leaving DRS territory of no limit, no EQL at the moment. So train forming from around about 5th to around about 11th at the moment, as Crispy looking to try and bounce back from that spin. It did look like his car was going to spin for a while, and he chose to keep the power down. DRS is open. For the Mercedes, who tries to get a little bit closer to the Red Bull Honda. That's a bit of a wiggle as well. And it's all about tyre degradation as well here. Another fastest lap being turned out as we have a spinning car, and it's Marie again. She's struggling here. Tries to get herself back going. Here comes Duffy's now, who's going to get stuck a little bit in the dirty air through 2. He's very, very close now, is Duffy's, and SC Boy really is struggling at the moment in this early part of this race. Clearly his car's not been set up for high fuel load here, so we expect that Red Bull is probably going to be a lot faster going towards the end of this race, and he will be on the slower tyre. Around the rest of the field at the moment, down in P11. Bailey managing to make 4 positions up from the start at the moment. He's currently battling with Silk Weaver at the moment, as we have sector 2 yellow flags wave for a spinning car, and that is actually Luciano in the Ferrari. And he did spin earlier on, did Luciano, and he's going to spin again as he goes through the corner. He's clearly struggling as the Alfa Romeo just tucking out of the way. Luciano clearly not having the best run of it, and he might have overheated his tyres ever so slightly and trying to get the car back, and that's the reason why he's locked up. Let's go back on board with Bailey at the moment, who's looking to just keep on this form at the moment. He's had a bit of a bad run of form in the qualifying. He's looking to just try and bounce back and get some good points here. And the top 3 get prize money. He'll be aiming to try and get into the top 3 if he wants to earn some prize money, and if he just wants to keep on the form at the moment with points, he'll be hoping for a top 5 finish here as Little Joker comes into the pits to get off of those soft tyres, which are, to say the least, not aged very well. It's probably going to end up being a 2-stop for him as well, actually, as you see what tyre he goes on to, and it is a medium tyre, so it is going to be a 2-stop for Little Joker. Weaver not having the best time of it through turn 4, Bailey putting him under pressure here as he heads into 5. Very well taken from Silk Weaver though, hits the apex absolutely perfectly as Bailey in the wake I think was the reason why he missed out on the apex there. Try not to hit the curb too much, as Silk Weaver missing his apex means he's going to end up having a very, very weird line going through 8 into 9. Such, you can see Bailey is now going to gain a little bit on Silk Weaver, and he's going to have the DRS on Silk Weaver as well, and Silk Weaver doesn't have it on the dude at the moment. El Duderino happy with 7th at the moment as Marie becomes our first retiree. She retired in the pit lane, so that's not going to cause too many problems, you suspect. El Duderino though is now pushing on Veyron at the moment in that little DRS train between 5th and 7th, so Weaver doesn't have DRS, and here comes the Alfa Romeo Ferrari as he just gets to make the move done under DRS. That's going to be an easy one for him, you think, as Crispy also trying to get into the mix as well after his spin. He may be looking for it as well. It's later on the brakes. Remember, Crispy and Bailey were relatively close on pace here, so he'll be looking to try and hug Bailey as much as he can, but he's going to get caught behind Silk Weaver here, who has every right to defend, but he's going to get DRS in Silk Weaver because of the overtake on Bailey. But Crispy's going to want to make the move stick here, and he's not got a lot of overtake left either, so he's going to go down that inside line, and he makes it work, but he's on the curb again and drifts around turn 1 to make that overtake work. It's not the first time we've seen an F1 car make a drift overtake, and I think that's exactly what's just happened with Crispy. He's now tucked in behind Bailey, and he's up to 9. Say up to 9th, of course. Remember, he did do that spin from P3 or P4 rather, so he's looking to try and bounce back, and the way that he needs to bounce back here is to try and overtake Bailey here, who himself spun out and actually crashed out of Q2 earlier on. If you've just joined us, Bailey, the winner of last week's race and earning a full $20 for his troubles, crashing out of Q2. Bailey's doing a little bit of a wiggle. I wonder if this is going to be acknowledgement of I know you're there. Remember, this is not all about the driving, it's all about the mind game situation. Is Bailey wiggling to say I know you're there, or is Bailey wiggling to say I'm going to give you the position? We'll have to see. DRS open for the Alpine, and he is getting closer, but he knows he hasn't got a lot of overtake to use here, so he's not going to make the move here, and I think he's going to make the move into 1 instead. Both taking a lot of curb, putting in the faith in the game and the curbs here, and I don't really do that with this generation of game. DRS open anyway for the Alpine. Is he going to make the move stick into 1? He's not, you know, he's going to stick back, so clearly Bailey very welcome to try and keep Crispy back, and remember they're on different strategies as well. Bailey is on the hard tyre, Crispy's on the medium, and that is the medium he qualified on, as well as Flips and Veyron currently scrapping out at the moment at turn 5. Now let me know EQO, be wondering how he's managed to get to 4th at the moment. A couple of spins and a few people struggling. He's up to 4th now. It's just about keeping and maintaining the gap at the moment. He might be on for some good points for the Aston Martin. should be the Williams of Crispy, but currently racing in the Alpine is the number 88. Popping it back into overtake through these corners here, so he knows he's losing a little bit of time, and I think he'll be kicking himself here for not making the overtake stick. Bailey still falling nearly 2 seconds behind El Duderino at the moment in 7th. And he is putting it into overtake, yes, so I think he's well aware he's losing time in him in the second sector, so he wants to make it stick. DRS open, Bailey trying to defend it down the inside line, so he'll go down the out, and he'll make it stick, and this is going to be an overtake here. Is he going to tuck it back in? And he certainly is, so the Alfa Romeo tucks it back in, accepts his fate, Crispy up to 8th. DRS will be available though, but he's going to lose it again, and that's the exact corner that he lost it in qualifying, and it's going to bring him back some flashbacks here. As they both again acknowledge each other there, obviously clearly good friends for these two drivers. He's steady now. Towards the front though, as you see, Duffy's still within the DRS territory at the moment of Mods SC Boy. Temperature starting to heat up a little bit as the sun does come through, so the medium tyres and the soft tyres will begin to switch on if anyone's on them, as we have another spinner, and it is the Ferrari again of Veyron. So Ferrari not having the best run here. Missing his apex there is Duffy's maybe struggling at the moment with the heat. Start to warm up these tyres, degradation becomes a bit of a problem. And the only people it's going to benefit are going to be those that are on the hard tyre. Up behind him in P6 at the moment, El Duderino is currently the leader. Of those on the hard. Bailey's still in a little bit of a scrap with Crispy at the moment, who's looking to try and overtake El Duderino, and a bit of a loss of rear end and another loss there for Duffy's. So a little struggling at the moment with the rear tyres, maybe some opening blistering happening. They follow him on the onboard. You can see the rear left actually not looking particularly healthy. A little blister opening on that outside sort of line. Well, Perondi now making a little bit of headway now. 3.5 seconds separating him from Mods SC Boy. Duffy's in 3rd. No penalty's been handed out as of yet at the moment. The last penalty actually was handed out to Marie for speeding in the pit lane. Chose to retire from this race as Thor and Luciano getting into a battle. Ferrari powered cars racing against each other. Just keep an eye out on the hard tyre situation here, because temperatures started to heat up here, which should benefit the medium tyre runners, but of course if they end up struggling a little bit because of tyre degradation, then the hard tyre is going to switch on quite well. And I think that's what's actually happening at the moment to the number 2 AlphaTauri, El Duderino, on the hard tyre. He's going to be very happy with this scenario, and I think Bailey is going to be very much aware that his tyres are either switching on or due to switch on or have switched on. Although on the power, the medium tyre is still looking fairly crisp and sharp. DRS open now though for the AlphaTauri, and he's not putting it into overtake though, and he's actually not opened his DRS either. He's opening it right at the end. I suspect to put a little bit of pressure on the Williams, as Reskiller is the first car to get lapped. Going on a minute and 8 seconds behind Logic at the moment is Reskiller, so he's clearly struggling out there at the moment. Still buying his time though at the moment. As hard as he knows that he's going to be the faster driver later down the line, but Saurin, they get a bit of a shift on. Medium tyre runners are clearly going to start struggling at the moment with a bit of a tyre degradation and maybe a tyre temperature scenario with it heating up quite nicely here. Surely the hard tyre runner will take up that opportunity a lot earlier than he really thinks, because of course his tyres are going to start degrading fairly soon. Spinning car, Reskiller again. Entry there actually from the new. So put out a little bit maybe from the dirty air. batteries once again. He is getting a little bit closer here to SC Boy. Though he is currently really struggling at the moment with electrical energy. It seems only got about 20% there. The engine's going to be starved of power a little bit, but oh, so late on the brakes in comparison, but he nails his apex. SC Boyd being a lot more conservative here as the dude is managing to get past clips on these hard tyres. Hard tyres are really starting to switch on now. Again, Bailey struggling at that final corner. Maybe looking to try and make the move pass back on El Dorino. It's hard tyre versus medium tyre at the moment. Stoic. Heading through to turn 5. Again, both drivers nearly in their apexes at the moment as they look to eye up potential moves here. Crispy also in the mix as well. He'll be hoping to try and get past clips and not put too much tyre degradation on his tyres at the moment. He's on that medium tyre. And Bailey, who we overtook earlier, will be very happy about his scenario because he knows that he's got two drivers directly in front of him who are going to be struggling for tyres here, as Veyron has spun again in the Ferrari. Tough call at the moment for these Ferraris. They are really struggling in that second sector at the moment. DRS train forms, but Bailey's getting a lot closer to Crispy here, and I'm wondering now if they're going to start struggling around these corners as Reece Skiller has spun it, going through turn 9. Just out of the DRS territory of no limit, no EQL, but you'll suspect he's going to be getting quite close here. Jefferson SC Boy in the pits. Start to see some drivers get themselves ready here now. Very wide goes Crispy. Brondi stays out another lap though, and he hasn't really needed to use his tyres in fairness to him, so you can't really blame him. Take the opportunity to look after your tyres a little bit more and still gain time. He's more than 10.5 seconds in front of no limit, no EQL. Scenario for Mods SC Boy is that he's now 27.8 seconds behind Perondi after the pits. He needs to look for around 25 if he wants to make the undercut work here, so he's going to have to hope that Perondi stays out another couple of laps here, because the hard tyre is certainly switching on very well at the moment with these rising heat conditions. And of course the ever-wearing medium tyre is going to struggle as we have another spinning car in the first sector, goes green straight away, so maybe actually going a little bit off of the circuit. What does El Dorino do here? This is the question. He's probably going to be staying out until around about lap 17, lap 18 here for a 10 or 11 lap stint on the medium at the end of this race. It's going to be a very fast tyre fresh, is that one. Still out of the DRS territory of no limit, no EQL here, and he's actually put himself under a little bit of a pressure here from the Williams driver racing in the Alpine FRA Crispy, who's still on that age medium tyre but actually holding his own at the moment despite the spin earlier on. Still see some drivers going around the circuit at the moment, and actually Perondi has decided to stay out, so he thinks he's still got a little bit of life in these tyres, so we'll keep an eye out on the scenario here as Crispy's going around the outside of El Dorino, but he's not going to have the advantage surely going through turn 2. He might go for the dive, but it's going to be a bit of a risky one if he does. He does leave the space though, in fairness, does the hard tyre runner in P3, but he knows he's got the extra grip going out of the corner, so he can put the power down a lot earlier than these age medium tyres at the moment. And more yellow flags waved at the moment for that third sector, as I believe Reece Skiller again has spun the car for what I think will feel like the 50 millionth time now for him. He's having a real bad race at the moment as Luciano has entered into the pit lane. It's been an appalling Grand Prix for Ferrari. They're down in 13th and 15th place at the moment, out of a possible 17. 16 on circuit, still racing, and we're nearly halfway through this 28 lap race here for PWW Prestige Worldwide. This is the Catalina wine mixer event. Catalina wine mixer event. He's bringing a lot of attention to the Foldham PWW at the moment. Some extremely close racing and some great prizes being handed out with each passing race. Clips manages to rejoin after leaving the session a little bit earlier on. His AI has actually pitted in for medium tyres, so hopefully it's not going to affect him too much. As Perondi has finally come into the pits. And you suspect it didn't affect him too much. We're keeping an eye on SC Boy at the moment, and unfortunately all our leader graphics have now just disappeared, so we won't see whether the undercut will work this time. He has actually set the fastest lap of the race, but Perondi is still a long way in front of SC Boy at the moment, and if anything actually gained time on a bit of an overcut actually. And I think that's just a testament to Perondi's driving. He hasn't really needed to push in P1 at the moment. As such, he was able to use up the best of the medium tyre during the couple of laps extra that he did. He's now fallen into P4 behind Bailey, Crispy and Vildorino. And the only worst case scenario for Perondi at the moment is that Bailey and the Dude are probably going to be going here another 4 or 5 laps. So if he catches up too quickly, he may end up being in a bit of a DRS train, and that will give SC Boy plenty of opportunity to close the gap. Bailey is the first recipient of a time penalty alongside Luciano. DRS is now open for Bailey, and Crispy also in the mix as well, as Crispy's looking to make the move on El Dudorino on these old medium tyres around the outside of the hairpin. What a move from the Williams driver in the Alpine. He'll be happy with that one. He's actually extending his stint even further as he continues to battle here with the Dude, and this is very much the worst case scenario here now for Perondi. There's an old medium tyre runner currently sticking in front of 2 hard tyre runners, and that is going to keep these drivers firmly at bay. Here comes Bailey around that inside line as he goes down the inside and potentially gets into a little collision with El Dudorino, and he's going to lose the rear ever so slightly. And Crispy's done exactly that as well at turn 3, and he's now out of the running here. Here comes El Dudorino trying to defend here from Bailey, and chooses not to go for the move into turn 5. Crispy too keen on the power himself. He knows that those medium tyres are now going to be beyond age, and it was a bad call to stay out this late here. Perondi is only 6 seconds behind. He's gaining quickly, but it might be enough as Dudorino's now made a mistake himself here going through turn 8 into 9, and Bailey now takes the lead of this race all the way from down in P15. He now leads. He needs to make his pit stop though, remember, and a safety car will be a really good call actually here for those runners, especially Crispy. But at the moment everyone is so far out from really some intense battles here. Closest battle happening right in front of us here at the moment actually between P1 and P3, as Crispy is looking to try and get past these drivers again on these old medium tyres. Surely he's not going to go for the move. He's going to have to tuck in behind as El Dudorino looking to try and put his car in a position. He's caught Bailey napping a little bit as he struggles, loses the rear ever so slightly, and they go side by side potentially into the final corner as the Dude takes the lead of this race once again, and Crispy still stays out on 15 lap old medium tyres now as he's going to get caught in DRS here as the Dude as he go relegated from P1 to P3. Bailey now takes the lead of this race. Perondi is pulling out fastest laps, and Perondi is going to start to get to the back of these guys here. He's going to lose time to SC Boy whilst this all happens if he can't make moves stick early enough. And of course, he's not in the best run of form either, so he could end up getting into some instance with these three who are having an absolutely cracking battle. You'd think that Crispy was still on a set of hard tyres here. He's actually holding his own quite well on these medium tyres, but you can follow in the Dude. You can still see the graining on the rear tyres for Crispy at the moment. He's not able to put the power down as early as he wants, but he's on the curb and he's going to struggle here as we have a spinning car, and I believe it is the Ferrari of Luciano also struggling here. He lost it just before he comes into the final corner. Iron Fox pits in for the Williams team. P15 for him at the moment. Following the aerial shot, here's Perondi. There he is now, look. 2 seconds back from these guys here as they continue on their battle. If these guys don't pit this lap, Perondi might be in some real trouble here as he's going to lose time to SC Boy. Yes, he's got 7 seconds, but that could easily be gobbled up if he is caught in traffic. He could lose 1 or 2 seconds every corner if worse really does come to worse, especially in the mid to slow corners. Surely Crispy's going to be coming in. He's not. He's staying out another lap. He really thinks he can hold his own at the moment. Crispy had an appalling spin earlier in this race, and he still wants to keep going here. But surely he's going to be looking at punctures here, because those medium tyres are very, very aged. And punctures are going to be a serious possibility here for the Alpine. Pops into overtake, does El Dorino. Is he going to make the move, potentially going into 5? He might go for the dive. He chooses not to, but he is a lot later on the brakes than Crispy. As he's going to be looking behind him here, and Peronde is now getting into the mix here. They have every right to defend it. It's their position. It's not no technical blue flags about it. They might not have pitted, but they have every right to defend from it. And Peronde is already going to start feeling the dirty air. You can see just wiggling the steering a little bit. Starting to feel the dirty air effect really start to kick in now. As the Haas driver on these fresh hard tyres now. Got a bit of a call to make here. Does he make the move now and get past them early enough that he doesn't lose time to Mods FC Boy? Or does he hold back here? He's going for it, you know. He's in overtake. And DRS is going to be available here. Is he going to defend? Is the dude? He has every right to, and he's certainly going so. He's going down the inside line to take the toe off Crispy. And Peronde trying to get the overtake done around the outside. Switchback potential. The dude is going to have not as much grip on these old hard tyres, but he's certainly got enough grip to keep on the defence here as he goes into the pit lane. Does the dude. He's had enough, and he's going onto a set of medium tyres, but he's actually come in earlier on hard tyres than Crispy on mediums. Can you believe it? Crispy is absolutely pulling these tyres to the edges of the earth as Reskiller has now fully retired from this race after a crash in the second sector. Looks to be off the circuit enough that I don't expect there to be any safety car issues. Here he goes down the inside line at turn 5. Crispy's defending it, would you believe it, as he goes down the inside line. A little bit of a wheel tap between Crispy and Peronde there, and Crispy's just going to have to give the position up. He does not have the grip at all on these medium tyres. He's dealing with these drivers so well at the moment, is Peronde. Last driver, would you believe it, is Bailey on these old hard tyres, and they would have hoped that Reskiller's incident would have brought a safety car. It hasn't done so. He was far enough off the circuit, it wasn't going to cause too much of an issue as we run down to 15 runners of this 28 lap race, 10 laps to go, and Peronde is dealing with this pressure at the moment so well. And you suspect here that Bailey's going to be a bit of a sitting duck here. DRS open for Peronde. Is he going to defend it here? He's not using overtake, so I think he's residing himself here, that he knows that this is not going to be a position he's going to gain. Peronde goes a little bit wide, but all the grip in those fresh, hard tyres making of massive use as he then begins to pull away. And DRS open actually for the Alfa Romeo. Is he going to make the move stick? He closes it actually. He's wiggling his DRS. He doesn't want to make the move on Peronde, so he's obviously thinking about the long-term effects as Crispy has finally come into the pits now for a set of hard tyres, maybe even soft tyres at the end of this race. He is actually going on a set of soft tyres at the end of this race. But an alternative strategy that is a bit of a bold call actually, because these tyres only, the soft tyres only last around 4 or 5 laps. He's going to be going 9 laps on a set of softs around China. That's a tough ask, to say the least. Peronde now leading this race though. And you suspect now it's just going to be a little bit of a drive around the park now for the Brazilian. Who's actually now, even despite the fact he was in traffic, gained time on Mods SC Boy. Can you believe it? What a race it has been for Peronde. What an entire race weekend actually it's been for Peronde. He's been showing his pace throughout Q1, Q2, extended that in Q3, and then look at the race pace for him at the moment. It's absolutely astonishing drive from the Brazilian Haas runner. Keep an eye out on El Dorino at the moment though. Just made the move on clips now. Fresh medium tyres to the end of this race now. You have a feeling here that he's got an outside chance of a potential podium here. You'd argue he unfairly missed out on Q3. The Alpha Tauri is getting re-overtaken at the moment by clips under DRS. Fresh medium tyres. He doesn't want to be in the toe of any other drivers for too long. Bailey now finally coming into the pits off of those hard tyres. DRS, and I suspect a little bit of overtake surely going to be used here. He is not making the move. It will fresh soft tyres to Bailey as well. Who's come out just behind Crispy in the end of all of this, and that's really close stuff. Elder Dorino, the dude getting closer and closer. He wants to make the move stick here on clips. Fresh medium tyres. Very late on the brakes. He's going to go around that outside line. Had to have a couple of bites of the cherry though, as a safety car has come out. And the safety car has come out because MRA Logic has crashed in the pit lane. I'm unsure why the safety car needs to come out for that, but the safety car has been called out. And I tell you what, that has brought this race back on its head here, because now soft tyre runners of Crispy and Bailey, how far back are they at the moment? This is the question. They're 28 to 29 seconds back from Perondi, so they're not going to overtake Perondi if Perondi chooses to pit, and surely he's going to pit for a set of soft tyres now, because it's going to be a 3-lap stint to lap 23. The 5 laps on a set of softs is certainly doable. Perondi does decide to come into the pits. We're surely going to expect SC Boy to come in, and he is doing so. Duffy's is going to do the same. We'll see if No Limit New QL does the same as well, but the Haas runner is now in, and it is a set of soft tyres under the safety car. Very well taken from the Haas runners, actually. We're the Haas team. Good pit stop indeed. Duffy's now in. The dude staying out on these medium tyres has put him now to P2, would you believe? Crispy now back up to 3rd. Bailey also up to 4th, but you're feeling the dude is going to be a little bit of a sitting duck here. Everyone is now pitting to get a fresh set of soft tyres. What an opportunity here, though, for Elder Dorino. He would have want to know how he's managed to get into this particular scenario, but he's on the podium as it stands. And in fairness to him, he had the pace in Q1, and again, we'd argue he was unfairly knocked out in Q2. He had the pace to get through. He just made the bad call. And he'll be seething what could have been either way. We're behind the safety car. It is the AMG safety car. And the current situation is as follows at the moment. Perondi is leading this race with the dude in 2nd, Crispy in 3rd, Bailey is in 4th with Mods in 5th place. Duffy's in 6th with No Limit EQL in 7th, Clips is in 8th, no, a Little Joker back in this race now in 9th with Silkweaver in 10th. The Ferrari's also back in this mix, but currently down the order in 11th and 13th. Thor splitting them in 12th, also staying on the medium tyre that he pitted for not too long ago, as the dude doing similarly with Iron Fox, still a minute and 45 seconds behind the Ferrari of Luciano, but he, as I said, basically the entire sector at the moment, as you can see there, is just still heading through turn 3 at the moment, whilst the rest of the field just coming towards the hairpin. So it's going to be a bit of a long one, folks. Certainly got another couple of laps behind the safety car, and if Iron Fox can't catch the field, we will be getting going at the end of lap 23. Skiller popping into the chat saying, well, that sucked. It was a little bit of a disappointing race for yourself, Skiller. Unfortunate that for you. Hopefully we'll see you bounce back next week. We are at the British Grand Prix in Silverstone, and Northamptonshire will be bringing some good vibes, I hope, to these drivers, and potentially some more drivers as well coming through as 17 runners coming for the Chinese Grand Prix. It's not a bad turnout in the end for a very difficult circuit. It's lap 22 of 28. Once again, we're behind the safety car. forward with Perondic, who will be, I think, a little bit seething at the moment that the safety car has come out with a big jump there. And the safety car, he could just be monitoring the safety car after a little jump on the curb. But nonetheless, as I've already said, he would be a bit seething at the moment because he was actually pulling around about 11-second gap on Mod's SC Boy. And now it's obviously been reduced to nothing to the dude, but the dude is on medium tyres here, so when the safety car does come in, it will be down to Perondi to decide when he wants to go. And of course the dude is going to be having to work extra hard to make sure those mediums don't get too cold, though the temperature at the moment with the sun out make for a very, very nice tyre scenario here. Then we'll be behind the safety car for another lap as Iron Fox is just trying to get himself going here. 39 seconds and falling. And therefore it will be a 5-lap dash to the end of this race. All 14 drivers will be in contention for a potential race victory here. Again, following the Haas runner. So we follow the dude. He's just working his front tyres at the moment. He'll be keeping a very firm eye on the gearbox of Peronde before we go racing once again. He wants to make sure that he tries to pull the gap on Crispy and Bailey because he's got a real opportunity here to take some good points. And what is going to affect Bailey more is that he has a time penalty as well. Situation report as regards of that actually is that he has 3 seconds alongside Joker and Luciano, and you think not that much of a time penalty, Joss. What are you going on about it for? But remember, this is the safety car with everyone on the same tyre. Everyone could be really close and tightly compact, especially when the DRS is reactivated at the end of lap 25. And when that does happen, DRS trains become a thing again. Those 3-second penalties are going to be massively crucial. Safety car getting another jump off of the curb of turn 5, so perhaps a little bit of remapping to do. Sorry to reskill, as we mentioned. He popped into the chat earlier saying, well, that sucks. He's a little bit of a disappointing race there for Reskiller. As I said, hopefully it'll be a bit of a bounce back from the British Grand Prix next week. If you are curious about more about PWW, we do have another Grand Prix following on from the British Grand Prix. We've got the Baku Grand Prix in Azerbaijan. And that will be running straight the week after of the British Grand Prix before we go, obviously, into our mid-season break. Before we're then back at Monza, the Italian Grand Prix. What a way to return as well. Safety car, as you've just seen, is confirmed to be in at the end of this lap. Regardless if Iron Fox would have made it or not, we would have had the safety car in at the end of this lap. Perondi just holding them up a little bit. This is the last opportunity for drivers to get their tyres all nice and warm. As Perondi will be keeping a firm eye, I think, on that map in the bottom right hand corner, that big yellow dot at the front. As soon as that yellow dot enters the pit lane, that's it, they have full reign of their accelerator pedal, which is currently limited at the moment. Electronically limited. And the safety car has just entered into the pit lane now, so Perondi will be getting himself going here, and the dude's not had the best start. We go green again for the last time here at the Chinese Grand Prix, and it is going to be the Perondi, but it makes a very good start here, and the dude just didn't get enough getting a good start to keep Crispy and Bailey behind. 3-second time penalty is going to be massively affecting that Alfa Romeo though, and it's going to be a very, very intense race indeed for the dude. Fresh medium tyres versus a lot of people on fresh softs here. And the soft tyre runners are going to have to keep an eye out on making sure they don't overheat their tyres, remember, because they'll lose all of that grip as well. We have a spinning car, and it's Thor in the Alfa Romeo. And that unfortunately is his race over and done with, for whatever reason. Crispy getting a little bit of dirty air through there. It's going to be affecting him a little bit. Soft tyres, if they overheat too quickly, despite the fact there'll be no wear on them, of course they will still be pretty badly affected by dirty air, and they could get extra heat run through them, and in turn gives them less grip. Relatively good exit. A little bit of a loss of the rear end though, and overtake open now. As the dude is trying to cover off that inside line, he's not going to need DRS, but he's certainly going to get the toe. He's going to make the move work, is Crispy. Down that inside line as the dude tries to defend it, and he might defend it, you know, but he's not going to get the best power on those medium tyres. It's going to be tight through that final corner. Crispy back in front now, so he's now up to second place as the dude tries to defend here. From the Williams of Bailey, from the Alfa Romeo, sorry, of Bailey. And he might just make it work, but the Bailey could stick it down the inside if he wanted to. And in fairness, the dude, he's always been given as much time and as much space as he possibly can without sort of trademarking his position here. He's going to try and trademark it down here, though, through into 5. Later on the brakes, we have a little bit of a cutout, and hopefully didn't ruin too much of a trouble, because Bailey has just managed to get in front, and the dude is now relegated to P4, but Bailey has a 3-second time penalty, and there's a spin! Oh, and there's a collision there as well, I think, with the Mercedes. I'm not sure what's happened, if some people have collided there with the dude, and he's going to be absolutely apoplectic with himself for that one. Caught it on the curb, potentially a podium. All he needed to do was stick behind Bailey, and he's lost it, and his race is now over and done with. What a bounce back from Crispy after that spin, managing to get P2 here, and he knows P2 is in sight here, because Bailey, with that 3-second time penalty, knows he's going to be falling quite far down the order here. Could be falling as far as P6 as it stands at the moment. With 2 laps to go, what an unfortunate situation for the dude who was just holding his own, and El Dorino will be potentially finishing with nil points. DRS now enabled. His time penalty starting to come in, and now Duffy's with a 3-second time penalty as well, and No Limit No Ikiobi looking in front of him and thinking, hello, I might have got a bit of a podium chance here, and he knows he does here. Because he knows the podium is in the bag here, just needs to hold on. Everyone with those 3-second time penalties and those Duffys now, as that one mistake has just cost him a real possibility of taking the podium out of Bailey's hands, and No Limit No EQ will be happy with this one. And I think Clips will just sort of open his eyes a little bit and think, well, I've got to overtake No Limit No EQL, and I'm on for the podium here. And No Limit No EQL knows that, and I think he's actually slowed down a little bit to just try and maintain the gap whilst not getting into too much of a scrap. He knows the podium is in sight. Back on board with F4 Crispy, the Williams driver racing in the Alpine tonight. Here comes Bailey then under the DRS. He's going to have that available to him, and you think the Alfa Romeo is going to make this one stick? No problem at all, but 3-second time penalty is going to be a bit of a problem here, as the conditions are now becoming overcast. Later on the brakes and into the back of him. Don't think there's any damage to the front of that Alpine. Conditions getting overcast all of a sudden is going to benefit those on the soft tyres, because they're just going to cool down a little bit. Duffy's getting into the mix here as well. Bailey, Crispy knows he's got a second place, certainly for Bags here, because he's got 2 people, one in front and one in behind, who have got time penalties here. So Weaver now a recipient of a penalty as well, so he's going to fall down the order. And Veyron has got a real opportunity to get in some positions back for Ferrari here, post penalties. Here goes down the inside, it's Duffy's down that inside despite the time penalties. Wheel banging through there. Crispy now relegated to 4th place. He needs to stay within 3 seconds of Bailey. He's got that, 1.1 seconds at the moment. But he needs to hold on. If this was the 28th lap, I think you'd think, yeah, it's all right, nothing to worry about. He's got another lap to do following this, and he's going to have to deal with the dirty air. of those in front of him. Oh, no limit, no QL going massively wide through that corner. He's got a third place potentially in the bag here, but he needs to make sure he doesn't make any mistakes as Montez Seaboy has DNF'd. He's out of this race. And that is a real unfortunate scenario, really, because he was on his way to getting some good points, and then that spin happened, and then he's just not been able to bounce back post-safety car. He's taking nothing with him tonight. As Clips in the Williams is trying to make the move, and that is third place potentially, but he's going to try and hold on down that inside line. It's the Aston as they collide going through that corner, and Clips is not going to be happy. He's going to be sort of shaking his fist a little bit there at No Limit No QL. They know that this is third place potentially in the bag as we start the final lap of this race. Little Joker is also in the mix, but he has got time penalties against him. Here comes Clips around the outside of turn one. He's onto the grass, isn't he? Around that outside line, and No Limit No QL can't defend this. He's still going side by side through one, and he's going to have the apex potentially here. Will Clips, he gets it, but the dirty air is going to affect him, and No Limit No QL just managing to hold on. But with every point that they are fighting, he's losing time to Bailey and Duffy's here. He's falling now about 2 seconds behind Duffy's at the moment, and he might be able to hold on, Will Bailey, for third place if No Limit No QL has lost enough time battling with Clips. It's going to be mighty close stuff in this fight for the victory in that on the podium, and Burundi will just be happy that he's sort of out of this at the moment because he's now falling 3.5 seconds in front of Bailey. He'll be taking what will be a solid victory for Haas tonight. Crispy stays out of the wake as much as he can of those in front of him, but just enough that he's definitely going to be at least taking P2 here. He's falling at the moment 2.4 seconds back on Bailey. At the moment, No Limit No QL is 3.2 seconds behind Bailey, so Bailey's going to hold on to P3 as it stands at the moment, but it's 0.2 of a second. If No Limit No QL can get within about 0.5 of Crispy, then he will get the podium. So it's going to be interesting to see what this comes across the line and see how they do. Burundi wins the Chinese Grand Prix. And Bailey comes across the line for P2. Here comes Duffy's. Crispy will take P2. Well, No Limit No QL. He's missed out on the podium by 3.5 tenths. And he's going to be kicking himself. And I think him and Clips, they're going to be screaming at each other saying, look, you weren't going to be able to get anywhere near here. We could have just carried on and took some big points here. Instead, No Limit No QL has missed out on the podium by just under 0.3, and Bailey has just missed out on P2 by just under 1/4 of a second as we follow PWW Thor on what was an appalling finish to the race in the end for Thor after spinning out post-safety car. He'll finish in P13. The dude just missing out on the points after that spin, and Ferrari, after all of the appalling spins and all of that horrible situation, have managed to take 9 points in the end. Veyron and Luciano in 6th and 10th respectively. And what an intense race it was.
More money to Ferrandi and Bailey and Crispy again. This win, Ferrandi. Pull away from me at the restart.
There's the dude making his comments there. We can see that the Brazilian driver Perondi taking the top step of the podium. The American runner in 2nd place in the end. The Williams Alpine driver of Crispy will be happy despite the spin earlier on in this race, managing to bounce back very well. Did mention that the high fuel load was clearly going to be a problem for him. He did cause the spin, and as the fuel was burnt off, he was epically quick, wasn't he, in the end, to bounce back to P2. Let's take a look at those final standings then. And of course it is a solid victory, as we saw, by Perondi, who's managed to take home a Grand Slam, Q1, Q2, Q3 and the race victory tonight on that 2-stop strategy, of course pitting under the safety car. Crispy finishes in 2nd place with Bailey in 3rd. No Limit No QL finishes in 4th place in the end. The Mexican will be a bit unhappy. He just missed out on 3rd place with Duffy's in 5th, Veyron in 6th, Clips in 7th, Little Joker in 8th, Siltweaver in 9th with Luciano in 10th place, making up the final points positions. And towards the back, of course, the dude just missing out on the points in what was an intense battle after that safety car restart on that medium tyre, spinning out, finishes 14.5 seconds back on the race victory Thor in 13th place, with Iron Fox finishing in a very respectable 12th considering all of the issues he had. And SC Boy, Logic, Reskiller and Marie all crashing out of the event. Nonetheless, a very, very intense Grand Prix. I'm very, very happy with the showing of that one, and I'm fairly certain the rest of the drivers across the field are going to be happy with what was a very intense race. We are back for the British Grand Prix next week at the same time as usual, 5 Eastern, 4 Central, 10 p.m. British Standard Time. Myself and the rest of the team here at PWW, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye for now.